Hey there, my name is Danielle, and today I'm going to tell y'all about something that's really been bothering me lately, and that is disability rights in America. But before I start getting into the nitty gritty of this problem, I want to give y'all the backstory to why this issue is so important to me. It all started when I was a baby, and my younger brother Stephen was born. Stephen is my only younger sibling, and so he's always had a special place in my heart. But when Stephen was 2, he was diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder. Autism is a mental disorder that makes communication and forming relationships with others very difficult. This disorder looks different for every one person. For Stephen, it means that he's nonverbal and doesn't act like a typically developing teenager. But because Stephen is an individual who has autism, my parents had always signed him up for special activities with other kids who had similar disabilities as him. Some kids had autism, some kids had Down syndrome, and others were confined to a wheelchair for various reasons. I would sometimes go to these special activities or events with Stephen, so eventually I got comfortable around all types of people, no matter if they had a disability or not. As I got older, I started to wonder how these individuals who were confined to a wheelchair went to different places. What if the doorway was too narrow and their wheelchair couldn't fit through the door? Or what if there wasn't a wheelchair ramp at the restaurant they were going to? But when I flash forward to today, where I'm a first year student at the University of Kansas, I'm kind of bummed that I didn't really ask those questions when I was growing up. It really wasn't until last year while I was traveling in Washington D.C. when I learned about the Americans with Disabilities Act, or the ADA. The ADA prohibits discrimination based on disability. It enforces rules and regulations like building codes that ensure wheelchair accessibility, access to appropriate academic support, and other necessary resources for those who have disabilities. When I learned about the ADA, I was like, heck yeah! The ADA will make sure that my brother and his friends all have access to the resources and support they need for them to be happy and live successful lives. My excitement was short lived because I later learned about the ADA Education and Reform Act of 2017, also known as HR 620. But sounds like a good thing, though, right? Education, reform, those are some positive words. But don't be fooled. HR 620 does not do any educating or any positive reforming whatsoever. It hurts those living with disabilities, actually, by eliminating the regulation that businesses must keep their spaces handicap accessible. I bet you're asking yourself, why the heck would the government not want buildings to be handicap accessible? What's the big deal? Well, a part of ADA regulations is that if a building is not up to ADA standards, then the business will receive a hefty fine. Conservatives do not like that because they think it hurts small business owners that can't afford to get their spaces up to ADA code. But as that argument might seem semi-valid, it isn't really because the ADA was started back in 1990. So businesses have had over or about 28 years to get their buildings up to the code. 28 years. Isn't that enough time? Obviously, this amendment to the ADA is very bad. But because it's labeled as Education and Reform Act, many elected officials don't read the fine print and vote yes anyway because they think it's a good thing. Representatives were so stupid that they actually passed this in the House. And now it's in the Senate. I urge you to contact your elected officials to vote against the ADA Education Reform Act of 2017 because this bill really hurts the 12 million Americans that are living with some form of physical disability.